We celebrate freedom every 2 weeks when new episodes come out here on the Manumet Podcast, hosted by Glenn Johnson, the founder of Jabez Financial, registered investment advisor there. And you get in touch with Glenn and the team at jabezfinancial.com, serving greater Uncasville, Connecticut. I never asked you this, Glenn. We've done these episodes for months and months. What is your radius of being able to help people? Do you help people outside of Connecticut? Is it all over the country? I actually don't know.
Oh, well, it's definitely all over the country.
Okay.
Absolutely. As much as I thoroughly enjoy meeting people here in Connecticut face to face, what happens often is clients retire and they leave. They leave Connecticut. They are all over the country. And sometimes I get to fly and go visit them or meet up with them, and wherever they are. Like I said, I've got I should add up the number of states that I've got clients in right now.
That would be some good podcast content. It's something good to have for social and all of that. And I haven't mentioned it a couple of episodes, but you can find Jabez Financial on Facebook and Instagram, in addition to jabezfinancial.com. There's all sorts of places here just to interact with the show, get content, if you will. These days, content is king, right? But the good old-fashioned human interaction is king. And we're going to talk about in a moment the importance of quote-unquote spring cleaning. I know we're in the height of summer, around relationships. What to hold on to, some things that are maybe a different part of your life and you're in a different season now. But I also want to talk about the in-person thing. So we talked about in the last two episodes the event that's now in the past, the Celebrate Freedom event, the Manumet Freedom Farm. But the Manumet Foundation, or the Manumet United Foundation, you also have an event every year at the end of the year. So yes, it's fitting that in July we talk about Christmas.
That's right. So December 6th this year, we're having a Christmas party at the Groton Elks Lodge. We're really excited about it. Last year we had it at the barn, and had everybody showed up that said they were going to, there's no way everybody would have fit.
Praise the Lord. Okay.
We maxed out the place and it worked out great, but we need a bigger venue this year. We'll have exceptional live music, great food, great company, games. The Christmas party is a real Christmas party. We're not having a holiday party. It's a Christmas party.
Gotcha. Understood. And so that's December 6th, 6 p.m. I'm glad you pronounced it before I did. The Groton Elks Lodge, 700 Shinnecossett Road in Groton, Connecticut. Send an RSVP in, just like we asked you to do before for the Manumet Freedom Farm Celebrating Freedom Deal. KML, that's Kayla's email address, KML at jabezfinancial.com, or you can fill out the contact form, jabezfinancial.com, or dial the office, 860-390-0093. You can kill two birds with one stone if you've never met with Glenn and the team. Go ahead and sign up for the Christmas party and set your complimentary meeting up with Glenn and the team. Learn more about how they can help you sharpen the tools in that retirement plan. Glenn, you've done all sorts of life coaching and whatnot outside of this business too, so you're going to get some contact wisdom out of this, okay? But you're going to be signing up for a chance to get with Glenn and the team and just help to plan your financial future, all right? And Glenn, by the way, has co-authored the book, The Motivation Manifesto, and authored a chapter in this big Les Brown book just about all of that. So be sure to get in touch with Glenn and the team, 860-390-0093. And now we're going to talk about just tidying up and making sure the right relationships are happening for people at the right time, Glenn. So take it away.
Well, thanks, Doug. When we're raising kids, one of the things that as parents, we tell the kids constantly is we're so in tune with whom they're hanging out with. Who are they spending their time with? What kind of influence are their friends having on them? And what kind of influence are they on others? The relationships are so key. I remember when I was in my early 20s and a mentor of mine told me, he says, look at your 5 closest friends, average their income, and yours is pretty much in the middle.
Oh,
and I was like, oh boy, I'm really hungry right now. And so I needed to meet some people to throw some outliers in there, some people that had 7-figure incomes to throw off the average a bit. And boy, am I grateful that I did. So there's a lot of times the parents will say, you hang around with losers, you'll end up a loser, son. But the fact is, when we hang around with winners and we hang around with champions, we end up victorious ourselves. Yeah. And what it takes, it's easy to start a relationship with somebody that you have a little more social status over, or some people that you have influence over. It's easy to open those doors because there's no emotional sacrifice. However, when we find somebody whom we perceive to be far more successful than we are in a particular area, sometimes we can feel intimidated.
Sure.
And say, boy, well, you know what? This guy over here, he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, or seven-figure income, or how do I initiate a conversation with him? Well, you know what? For the same reason, sometimes people are intimidated talking to their local pastor when they're walking into the church for the first time. Understand, we're all ignorant on a different set of subjects. So if we're going to increase our wisdom and grow in any particular area, we have to have enough emotional courage to set our ego and pride aside to open the doors to initiate relationships with people that can mentor us, speak into our lives, care about our success, and in fact, care more about our success than our friendship, whom we can learn to trust their advice and make changes.
Right.
So that's why the lives that we're living, what we have here, our life, our personal person, that is our life's project. And that's not going to improve to any great significance unless we're able to extract the wisdom from people that know more about things than we do.
Now, that's a great point. So iron sharpens iron. Take it right out of the good book, okay? That's just that's something that we have all experienced in life. You don't have to believe in the Bible to believe that, okay? That's probably one of the least the most applicable things you can find in the scripture is just iron sharpening iron, right? But a lot of people don't. So and we're trying to be polite here, okay? But we're also trying to be kind, not nice, on the Manumit podcast. Sometimes you got to get a little elbows out, if you will. What's an example of relationships that people hold on to that end up being not beneficial? All right, so we're taught to love everybody, but loving everybody doesn't mean everybody's in your inner circle. So how do you help people navigate that?
Well, first you want to, you kind of know when there's someone in your life that they are not a part of the future that you want to have. So they may be part of your future, but it's not the future that you want. And you already know. I mean, you sit down and ask yourself, pray about it. You'll get an answer and you'll hear it. You may not like the answer, but you may find out that this person that has a lot of time in your life, you know when they need to be cut back a little bit. So how do you go about doing that? I'm not here to tell you who you should have in your life and who you need to extract. You already know. But what I can do is I can help you in that process. And here's how you do it. Start with, once that person's identified, start with being grateful for that person. Be grateful for the fact that they were there in your life for that time during that season, whether you got into trouble together and you shared a laugh and you have that funny memory, or if they were there as a support during a particular hardship. So there is value in those relationships. So start with being grateful for them.
Yeah.
But then we have to realize to say, okay, depending upon the trajectory of my life and where I want to be next in my next season, if they're not a part of it, we don't just have to say, look, you're out.
Right.
We just have to be able to add the right relationships in our lives, and then we just we don't have time for the ones that aren't a part of our future.
Right. That's a great point. If you got lunch day, I'm just using lunch or coffee here with your 7-figure people, if you will.
Yeah.
Or let's say your platinum people. All right. The ones, it's suddenly there's going to be really idle hands are the devil's tools, right? You end up spending time with people that you have time to spend time with. That's a humane way of doing it. And it doesn't mean you can never have interactions with them, but it's just, if you have, I think of someone, let's not talk in terms of income, someone that's negative or has very low ambition. That's another one. They can be positive, but just have no ambition. And you spend all your time going, oh, well, everything's great. I'm just sitting around doing nothing. You're going to be programmed that way, right? So it's like, okay, do you want to spend time with somebody who is really driven, or somebody who's really faithful and carves out a lot of time for, their one-on-one time with God in their lives? Who do you make time for?
If somebody's sitting around, they've got nothing to do, I want no part of that. Okay. There's my answer.
See, this is a totally different kind of retirement show, isn't it? Okay. This is not how to be bored in retirement, the Manumit podcast. No, this is just finding that next season.
Yeah. And if you notice that people that have nothing to do invariably want to do it with you, that's a sign.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And yeah. And when it comes to negativity, oh my gosh, I remember one of my stepdaughter, so she wanted to change her social circle.
Yeah.
And I gave her this advice that she put on her greeting on her cell phone. And I make this recommendation publicly, and that is this. On the greeting, say, "Hello, you've reached me." And say, "I'm making some changes in my life. So if I don't return your call, you're one of them."
Oh my gosh. That's like my brother. And he probably took this idea from someone, but years ago on Facebook, he put a status up that said, "Did a purge of my friends list. If you can see this status, you made it."
Yeah, that's right.
Well, there's so many directions we can go in this. I mean, Glenn, you're a father. You've also dealt with so many clients and such, and you go through a season in life where, look, if you retire, a lot of your closest people were people that you saw in the same building or campus 8 hours a day,
right.
And now you go into retirement. It's like, wait, who are my real friends, right? And they may hit a reset. So I'm sure there's also something there. Like, do you, were they just work friends where all you had in common is that you put caps on toothpaste tubes? Like, was that it? Because if that's it, then, I mean, you're just going to be dragged into the past, or do you want to look ahead?
And the fact is, retirement is the next great adventure.
Yeah.
You've got more time. You've got more authority over more of the hours of your day, which puts you in a position to accomplish something even greater than you did while you were working.
Right.
Retirement is not about sitting on the porch and watching the dog die. It's the next adventure. And, we think about it. It's not just relationships. Sometimes it's even the things in our lives or the investments that we've had that no longer serve their purpose, although they were exceptional at one time. I think about when I was in high school, I used to draw pictures of what I thought the ideal car would look like. I wanted bigger wheels in the back, smaller in the front.
There you go, drag racer, yeah.
I wanted one big scoop on the sides, unlike the lines on the Testarossa. So I wanted a small tail fin. I designed exactly what I wanted, and the car didn't exist. And then I found myself at a dealership one day, dream building, because some mentors of mine was saying go look at things that you can't afford that will inspire you to go to work.
Wow.
So I was dream building, and there it was, sitting in a showroom floor, parked nose to nose. There was a Ferrari Testarossa, a Lamborghini Diablo, and the Acura NSX, all parked nose to nose in the showroom floor. And I was, I think, 19 years old when I spotted it. And I thought, this was amazing. This is exactly what I used to draw pictures of. The car didn't exist until then.
So, and at 19, did you get the Testarossa or what? Is this, how great is this success story? Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, it was the Acura NSX that I wanted.
Okay.
That was the car that I wanted. And you know what? So I got a picture of it. I carried it around with me every single day. I had a postcard of it that I stuck in the middle of my steering wheel of my 87 Nissan Sentra.
Hey, there you go.
So I was driving my Nissan, but in my mind, I was driving an NSX. And I visualized it every day, because where the mind is, the body will eventually end up.
Amen.
And I looked at who owned them, how much money did they make, and I started mapping it out. Like, it has to be a third car. It can't be a second. I have to own a house first. I have to have my wife not have to work anymore. So much had to happen before I could get it.
Hey, there you go.
But I used it as a dream to motivate me to grow through all of those necessary steps. And so when the time came where I was in a position to be able to buy it, the opportunity revealed itself. I got it. Now, this was decades ago.
That's incredible.
So I remember purchasing my dream car, and I waited until I could get exactly that. It was my first sports car.
Delayed gratification is so much better too, by the way. With a whole different show we could do on that.
Right. And so I waited to get the exact one I wanted. And I drove it for nearly 300,000 miles, and I still have it. I still enjoy driving it. But you know what I enjoy more now with it? Is lending it out to people and letting other people use it.
Yes, pay it forward.
Because I get more joy out of witnessing that.
Yes.
And no, it's not my daily driver anymore. The Mercedes is more comfortable for me on a daily basis.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
But I still use the NSX, but I use it differently. I enjoy it sometimes, and I enjoy it in other ways by lending it out. This is where when we've got relationships that serve us in one time in life, okay, that's great. We've added value, but we're not necessarily spending as much time there. I'm not spending as much time behind the wheel of the NSX. I do sometimes,
yeah,
for a little bit. So I'm not saying you have to cut relationships off permanently, but we do limit our time to them. And because it makes room for what's next. And it also, just like when I lend my NSX to somebody, they get to enjoy it more.
Yes.
Those people have the opportunity to establish relationships that's going to be part of their future.
Right. Well, I love that. That's a great note to end on. Pay it forward. Once you surround yourself with the people have paid into you, that means you get the chance to pour into other people. That's certainly, I'm so thankful for my mentors and for the opportunity to mentor as well. Well, Glenn, thank you so much for sharing about that. I love these stories. And I love these anecdotes. And you can see why they got Glenn on this Motivation Manifesto book and had him author a chapter in that. You can buy that at jabezfinancial.com. Again, Glenn, thank you for making the time today.
Thank you, Doug.
A pleasure's been mine. Thanks to our producer, Rob Scott, for putting this show together as he does every time. And to all of you for listening, subscribe, turn on notifications, and talking about paying it forward, send the link over to somebody, whether you see it on jabezfinancial.com or whether you found this on Apple or Spotify or wherever. If there's someone in your circle that needs to hear about providential relationships or the ones that weigh you down and how to kind of boot those to the outer circle, be sure and send them the link. My name's Doug Turnbull. Glenn Johnson, the host of the show, is a registered investment advisor and is the founder of Jabez Financial. And we will have another episode coming your way here very soon of the Manument Podcast. Take care.
Investment advisory services offered through Jabez Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Glenn Johnson Connecticut Insurance, license number 4628409. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Jabez Financial, LLC. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Jabez Financial, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Jabez Financial, LLC is licensed in your state, please call 860-390-0093.